Hey everybody, DJ Lou here, and this is going to be a little bit different kind of video here, and I'll explain in a minute. First, big shout outs, of course, to Rachel Lynch for driving all the way up from Connecticut, bringing her Evolve 70 to even have this mini little shootout to begin with. A big shout out to April from Senate Garage, donating. We were there over 6 hours filming this. So thank you so much, April, for donating your time. Again, Senate Garage is just a mile down the road from me. I've done many events there and filmed more than a few there. So you'll see very familiar digs if you've seen my videos. Anyways, we had the full intention of filming this shootout and also filming 2 additional videos, all at the same facility, to basically kind of culminate into this shootout video. Unfortunately, about 2.5, 3 hours into the shoot, I was in this very camera. I do have 2 of the same camera, but I put a big external battery on this and I was just shooting. And when I went to go shoot a scene and had to move the camera, the battery popped out. I have a big external battery and it popped out. When you're recording and the battery pops out, the footage can and did get corrupted. Now, I was able to recover some of it by missing some pretty big chunks of footage after the recovery. So it's significant enough that I was almost about to kind of trash the footage, but I started reapproaching this as like, you know what? Let's just get kind of a raw reaction kind of video. A little bit less polished. Not every angle's great. Can definitely tell when my other camera ran out of battery and I don't have that particular angle. But I wanted to show what we thought, especially in the moment, some of our reactions to things of that nature. So there's going to be some less polished aspects to this video and all. I apologize. But I felt that it was worthy of at least, observing and all this. So this will be a little bit longer video because I wanted our conversation to kind of come through and all that. And just, again, get our reactions. So I really hope you like this video. Again, it's not quite the same kind of video that everybody's used to and all. But on that note, let's just dive into it. And as always, thanks for watching. All right, so for the special sauce here, it's not just, of course, Rachel with her video. It's not just with me and my RCF video. Yeah, we're doing a shootout.
What 2 better people to do this, right? We have basically the brains, well, half of the brains of the Harvest of Sound Speaker Shootout. And then, of course, you have the EV, queen here able to bring down for the shootout. And we're super excited to be able to bring you this video, guys. We put a lot of work into today. We brought a lot of technology down, from SPL meters to watt meters to digital measurements to make sure things were spaced correctly. We've leveled things out. We had pink noise. We really did the best we could to make this as fair and equitable as honest, including a unexpected third party,
yes,
who also gave a tremendous amount of value and input today too. So because you guys are part of such a special community, we are very excited just to be dropping this here in the help desk, the results of today's speaker shootout with the Evolve 50, Evolve 70,
and the RCF 14A and 15AX. But frankly, just not on sound, I would easily just choose a 70 in this case, just because over the RCF, just because of convenience and weight.
Yeah, for our mobile world, we need convenience. Like this thing is.
And setup time. I mean, we should do that. We should just be like, put the bags on, put it away.
Well, here's the, so here's the one negative of the. So first, I don't have the bags for the RCF yet, and I don't have my like custom cables. Like I wouldn't run this rig without custom cables normally, because right now the spaghetti that I have to do to put this all together is crazy. I can get it down because I had originally my Yamahas with a 8-inch top. And I had that pretty good. Like I had everything like rolled in, so I could just simply roll it out, connect it up. I could get it up in like 3.5 minutes or so with everything out here. This I can do, what, 1.5 minutes or something like that or less. So we're gonna start with the 50s as a baseline. And just remember, these are all set for 94. So now we're just listening to the tonality of the box. Depeche Mode. What do you think, Rachel? Now that you've heard 2 songs.
So first, my mind is blown how the 50 is even.
Now, just remember, they are just set for 94.
I get
so
it.
we're being as equal as possible.
Right. But
the 50 still does keep up. What do you think right now? And especially now here in Depeche Mode.
Well, I heard the differences in the speakers.
I did too.
And the it seems that the RCF is brighter at
Yes.
the spot, and then the 70 is more even, and so is the 50.
I agree wholeheartedly. There's a brightness, a crispness to the RCF. It cuts through.
And that's probably because of the 6-inch drivers that are up there. While technically, and just for people that don't know what the purpose of a column array is, they're basically trying to concentrate the signal at a point. So that's why there's waveguides in this. So they're basically trying to combine all these, in this case 4.7-inch drivers, in this case 4-inch drivers, into a central point to make great sound, something basically bigger than what this has. This just goes OG raw physics. There's 2 6-inch drivers and a compression horn in here. That's where you're hearing the added brightness. There's just more to it that it can push that I think adds a little crispness to it. Which surprises me because I always felt that RCF was always a little muddy, like the Evox 12.
I find them very muddy.
I've always found them.
Especially when we put them against the 50.
Yeah.
The 50 or the.
Yeah, I always felt that the 50 sounded
much more
so much more musical. Now, we haven't even put these in music mode. So I'm going to redo Enjoy the Silence, but I'm going to put them in music mode. Well, that made a difference.
RCF is the tops. And surprisingly, even the 50 kept up with the 70.
Yeah, I am still shocked how good the 50 sounds
Yeah,
comparatively.
50, honestly, for what it is, and at the same time, thinking of from the DJ perspective, if you don't have a Lou Paris there, to them this is not going to be
Right, it's more just simple. Plug, play, go,
Yeah.
done. All right. I think we're done with 94 dB. I think we need to go hotter. Here's low. Now in that, I like the RCF better on this one. Vocals are just much clearer on the RCF on that. I mean, clearly doesn't have all the low end, but it's still.
I'm not that guy who's like comparing it to like that. It's just really cool to hear the differences.
Just from tonality,
Right.
voice, clarity, precision on the horns and stuff like that. I want to say they're pretty damn equal. You might squeeze a bit more out of this. I mean, you're 2,000 watts versus 1,000 watts.
So we still haven't done peak.
We have not done
our
peak
last.
yet.
Like just get it to right
Yeah.
before we do bad things.
All right, I'm hitting out. Thank you.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure. You made this a lot. Not that you're not enjoyable. But
God damn it!
it was good to have you here. Like just a third.
No,
And we actually were happy that you came here because, people assume we have our,
Biases
and our biases and benefits. Like, there's no benefit for you to say one thing or the other. People are going to assume that I'm going to be like, oh, EV's the king, and like, it's good to have an impartial.
Well, it's good to have that, but I think it's irrelevant to the extent of like there's. It's a quote or something I heard from Mark Farrell. 33% of the people are going to love you, 33% are going to hate you, 33% don't give a shit either way. Focus on the 33% that love you, and that's it. And if you're going to hear haters out there all the time, and it's not going to make a difference, and even responding to them is a waste of time.
But, all right, peak.
So we have little limit now. All right, so back it off just till it flashes, so I could just see like what that looks like. Okay. So now that we found our peak limits, we're putting the SPO meters in front of it to see how loud each gets before you're running it too hot.
All right, 70. I saw a peak of 104, so there's at least 1 more dB There was definitely more presence out of the RCF though.
Yeah. And what was,
What?
did we even do the 50 or no?
Nope, we can do that. Looked like 100.6 might have been the peak on that.
So what would you say is peak difference between,
So 50 and 70 is a good 4 dB.
which is a big deal?
It was a big deal. It's exponential. And then from the 70 to the RCF was a solid 1, because we were at 105 on that. And this is all at 3 feet.
Are we still at the limit, like where we're making it angry?
Wow, that's loud.
That is so much loud. Oh, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. So,
But what the extra 1,000 is
yeah.
giving you, this is exponentially louder than
Yeah.
the 70 when pushed to absolute max.
well, it says one additional dB against the 70, 5 additional dB against
So at the risk of sounding dumb, I know that like 1 dB, 2 dB, like that's a big difference. So if it's only 1, how come this is so much louder?
Because you're getting, well, one, we're also just hearing the horns and the brightness. There's just that much more that's available. You're talking, again, only 2,000 watts. That's max, so you're probably really 1,000 RMS, where the RCF is 2,100 watts on each, so 4,300 watts. So figure somewhere around 2,100 watts nominal. That's what happens when you double the wattage out of it. And it's just more capable. So we just finished the shootout, and this is complex. Like, we've literally been chomping at the bit, talking to people like Ben Stowe, which, again, shout out Ben, that, you know, where do we make heads or tails of it? Because first and foremost, the 50 still is just such a great speaker.
I think probably if I had to break this down into top, first of all, we've been here since 11:30. It is now almost 6 o'clock.
This is how long we've been, like, between the shooting out. We also had our guest DJ come in for a little bit to sound things off from his perspective. And we've been literally back and forthing because there's so much differences and sameness kind of across the board on it. And it's just like, oh, how do we packagize this? Like, how can we really narrow this down? It's challenging.
Okay, so I think I'll break it down into kind of like my 3 big takeaways
Yeah.
from today, just to keep it simple. So I think today, more than anything, actually solidified how fantastic the Evolve 50 is. It is still a main player.
Yeah.
So I know I've had some people ask me, hey, would you consider, selling your 50s, in exchange for the 70s? And I'm putting a hard no. The 50s still have a tremendous place in my arsenal. Based on the type of events I do, I actually think I still might even be using my 50s more than my 70s. But I will say, for anybody who, had the 50s and felt that, every event they were either like right on, the edge of asking too much of it, and feeling just a little frustrated, like, oh, I just needed more. The 70s are going to be the answer to that.
100%.
I think the shining star on the 50 has always been the top,
Yes.
right? And then people were, wanted a little bit
Just
more.
a little more. Little needy.
Out of the 10-inch sub.
12-inch.
I'm sorry, 12-inch sub. I'm thinking of my 30, right? 12-inch sub. I think that the upgraded sub on the 70 is in
It's in
different
another
universe.
league. It was even better than the RCF sub. It's not even that the 15AX sub is lacking in any ways. It's just the 70 sub is just that damn good. And light as hell. Holy shit, is it just so light?
Absolutely. So if you go, tit for tat, between weight and all that, the 70 is taking the award with this one.
100%.
And it's not even that it was louder. So the RCF system is louder. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's twice the wattage. It's $1,000 more. I mean, clearly you should be getting more speaker for spending more money.
100%.
But I think the biggest difference, it wasn't that the 70 was louder. It's that you felt it. Like you
Yeah,
could
it's-
feel the vibrations in your body. And we
100%.
stood way back in the back of the room.
And it would be louder once you start pushing it into the extremes. And again, as Rachel said, if you are going to your events and just needing more all the time, then the 50s clearly might not be the right solution for you. The 70s may be. It also might be a point source that you need to, something like the RCF, which again, from a controversial standpoint, RCF was initially touting the 14A as a column array. They're now saying it's also a point source, and they actually have both pieces of literature. The reality is, it's skinny speakers, and if we just really want to boil it down, it's the battle of the skinny speakers, which is why we did all three of these. So we have 50 as a baseline, which both you and I use extensively, and then seeing what the next 1,000 up is with the 70, and then another 1,000 up from the 70 going to the RCF.
All right, so takeaway, Evol 50, amazing,
Amazing.
still has its place. The 70 sub was mind-blowingly better.
Crazy. I can only imagine what the 18 sounds like
And
on
then
the
you
90.
pair that with the weight of it, and it makes it even that much more
Yeah.
incredible. I can't even imagine what the 90 sounds like. In terms of the tops, the RCF took it in strides.
Just a lot of clarity, a lot of just, of course, having 6-inch drivers, a pair of them, plus a compression tweeter on there, just really, there's just more up top, and there's more physics to just kind of push that out. And clearly things like voice replication and all that was like at a premium. However, and you noted it when we were doing part of the shootout, that while it was louder with the RCF, there was not necessarily some harshness, but just the 70s sounded a bit better for the voice, and so did the 50s in that regard.
Right, so we did a little mock emceeing wedding introductions kind of a thing, and we literally bounced between the 50, the 70, and the RCF. And while the RCF obviously threw, to the back of the room and just was a much louder system, if I had to listen to, let's just say we were at like a corporate event where they had, awards and all this in the beginning, a lot of talking, and then it was dancing later on, I wouldn't want to listen to the RCF all night.
Yeah.
For the, maybe the 20 minutes, 15 minutes we were messing around with it, my ears were like exhausted from that. So I think in conclusion, if you already have a 50, I would say, and you're not strapped for cash or space, keep your 50. There's definitely a place for it, especially since we're working in a lot more awkward event spaces. We don't have those big banquet halls. It's a lot more barns and backyards and warehouses and just, really small stuff, or they sit you next to a 360 booth. The 50s are always going to have a place. And again, today just solidified that.
Proves that.
But if you want more, the 70s are delivering on that in every promise EV made.
So I think that wraps it up for now. We're still kind of digesting this all. I don't think there's a definitive answer on anything other than what your application truly needs. Again, small rooms, 50s are still great. You need a little more oomph. You have a bit bigger of a room, 70s might fit the bill. If you're looking for something more skinny size but need some larger throw for something like point source, something like the RCF would deliver that. But 3 amazing speakers here in the end.
That's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to today's little speaker shootout. We had a lot of fun today.
We did.
And
now we're hungry.
We're hungry. So with that, you owe me some pizza.
Yeah, why not?
We're in New York. How are you not going to get that?
Peace, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.